Good day, class. Our last lecture was on the motility patterns of the stomach. The highlights of the last class are: number one, functionally, the stomach is divided into two: the gastric reservoir and the gastric pump. Two, the motility patterns of the stomach are divided into two. Number one, gastric relaxation. Two, peristalsis contraction. Last week, we looked at the gastric relaxation as a type of motility patterns in the stomach in details. Today, we are going to dwell much on the peristalsis contraction as a type of the movement of the stomach. From our previous class, we already know that the peristaltic contraction is a type of motility patterns that is found in the region of the gastric pump of the stomach. You remember that the pylorus are the major components of the gastric pump. So the main fixture of the gastric pump is the peristaltic wave. Now, the function of this peristaltic wave is to ensure adequate mixing and grinding of the content of the stomach. Okay. Before we proceed, we need to know what peristalsis waves are. Peristalsis is a highly integrative complex motor pattern that is characterized by sequential annual contractions that moves the content of the gut distally. I'll go over it again. Peristalsis is a motor pattern that is marked by sequential annular contractions that moves the content of the gut distally. The basic rhythm for the initiation of peristaltic waves are induced by what are called pacemaker cells. The pacemaker cells are thought to be ICC cells, that is, interstitial cells of Kajal. The pacemaker cells are thought to be interstitial cells of Kajal. They are specialized group of cells located between the long circular layers of the musculary sternum, and also they could be found in other places of the gastrointestinal tract. These interstitial cells of Kajars have long processes through which they form gap smooth cells. As you can see on this diagram, you can see that the interstitial cells have long processes, and with these long processes they can actually make gap junctions with the muscles of the longitudinal and circular smooth muscle. Okay, these cells are referred to as what? Pacemaker cells, because they are capable of generating the basic electrical rhythm, otherwise known as what? Slow waves. This basic rhythm, or also known as slow waves, are just cyclical variations. You can see there, like cyclical variations in restrained membrane potentials. All right. When the depolarization of these slow waves exceed the threshold, a train of action potentials are triggered at the peak of these slow waves. I go over it again. When the depolarization of the slow waves exceeds the threshold, a waves of action potential, or a train of action potential, are triggered at the peak of the slow waves. This train of action potentials are known as spike potentials. These spike potentials are what is responsible for the initiation of peristalsis contraction. Slow waves that are not accompanied by the spike potentials do not elicit what? Contraction. Much contractions are evoked by the presence of these spike potentials. The greater the number of these spike potentials, the more intense the contraction of the smooth muscle. All right. Okay. Now, in the stomach, particularly pump, peristaltic waves are usually propagated from the body of the stomach through the proximal antrum, the middle antrum, and the terminal antrum to reach the pyrolus. On reaching the pyrolus, the peristaltic wave closes the pyloric sphincter. All right. Now, the peristaltic contraction of the antrum can actually be divided into three phases that do occur cyclically. The three phases are: 1, propulsion phase; 2, emptying phase; 3, retropropulsion and grinding. Okay, in our next class we will look at these three phases in details. Good day.